The moon landing, which took place on 20th July 1969, stands as one of the greatest achievements in human history. It was the culmination of years of intense preparation, groundbreaking scientific advancements, and daring exploration. The story begins with the formation of NASA, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, in 1958, a response to the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union. NASA set its sights on sending humans to the moon as part of the Apollo program. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy made a bold declaration to the nation, stating that the United States would put a man on the moon before the end of the decade. This statement ignited a sense of determination and sparked a nationwide effort to achieve this audacious goal. The journey towards the moon began with several manned space missions to test spacecraft, including the famous Apollo 1 tragedy in 1967 when 3 astronauts lost their lives in a launch pad fire. Despite setbacks, NASA persevered, learning from the past and making crucial improvements to the spacecraft and safety protocols. Finally, on 16 July 1969, Apollo 11 launched from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The crew consisted of Commander Neil Armstrong, Command Module Pilot Michael Collins, and Lunar Module Pilot Edwin Buzz Aldrin. Their mission was to safely land on the moon's surface and return back to Earth. After a 3-day journey, the spacecraft entered lunar orbit. Armstrong and Aldrin boarded the lunar module named Eagle, while Collins remained in the Command Module Columbia orbiting above. On 20th July, the moment of truth arrived as the lunar module descended towards the moon's surface. Following its launch by the Saturn V's third stage, the spacecraft carrying the astronauts was detached and embarked on a 3-day journey to reach lunar orbit. On 20th July, Armstrong and Aldrin boarded the lunar module named Eagle and made a successful landing in the Sea of Tranquility. To leave the lunar surface, they utilized the ascent stage of the lunar module and rejoined Collins in the command module. The crew then maneuvered the spacecraft, jettisoning the Eagle, and initiated the necessary actions to transition Columbia out of its final 30 lunar orbits, setting a course back to Earth. After spending over 8 days in space, they safely returned, splashing down in the Pacific Ocean on 24th July. The iconic moment of Armstrong's first step onto the lunar surface was televised worldwide, capturing the attention of millions. He eloquently described the significance of the event as one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Apollo 11's successful mission effectively demonstrated the United States' triumph in the space race, showcasing its superiority in spaceflight and accomplishing the national objective proposed by President John F. Kennedy in 1961 to land a man on the moon and safely return him to Earth before the end of the decade. Collins, the designer of the Apollo 11 mission Emblem, aimed to create a symbol representing a peaceful lunar landing by the United States. Following Lovell's suggestion, he selected the bald eagle, the national bird of the United States, as the emblematic figure. To convey their mission's peaceful intent, simulator instructor Tom Wilson proposed incorporating an olive branch in the eagle's beak. Collins incorporated a lunar background with the Earth positioned in the distance. However, the image inaccurately portrayed the sunlight coming from the wrong direction, resulting in the shadow being on the left instead of the lower part of the Earth. Collaboratively, Aldrin, Armstrong, and Collins agreed to depict the eagle and the moon in their natural colors, surrounding them with a border of blue and gold. Armstrong expressed concerns about the potential confusion of the number 11 among non-English speakers, leading them to opt for Apollo 11 as the designation. Additionally, they decided not to include their names on the emblem to ensure its representation of all those who had contributed to the mission's goal of a lunar landing. Approximately 12 minutes into its flight, Apollo 11 achieved a near-circular Earth orbit at an altitude of 100.4 nautical miles, 185.9 kilometers, by 98.9 nautical miles, 183.2 kilometers. Following 1.5 orbits, the SIVB engine underwent a second ignition, propelling the spacecraft onto its designated path towards the moon through a maneuver known as Translunar injection (TLI). At 16 hours 22 minutes and 13 seconds UTC, the TLI burn took place. Roughly 30 minutes later, with Collins positioned in the left seat and in control, the transposition, docking, and extraction maneuver occurred. This intricate process involved separating the Columbia module from the spent SIVB stage, executing a turn, and docking with the Eagle module still attached to the stage. Once the Lunar module, LM, was successfully extracted, the combined spacecraft commenced its journey towards the Moon, while the rocket stage followed a trajectory that bypassed the Moon. This trajectory was deliberately chosen to prevent any collision between the third stage, the spacecraft itself, the Earth, or the Moon. Utilizing the slingshot effect generated from passing around the Moon, the rocket stage was propelled into an orbit around the Sun. Armstrong identified an open area on the ground and steered the spacecraft towards it. As he approached, reaching a distance of 250 feet, 76 meters, above the surface, he noticed the presence of a crater in his intended landing site. Taking action, he skillfully maneuvered the spacecraft to clear the crater and searched for an alternate spot of level ground. With the spacecraft now just 100 feet, 30 meters, away from the surface, the remaining propellant supply was down to a critical 90-second supply. As the lunar module's engine stirred up lunar dust, it started to obstruct Armstrong's ability to gauge the spacecraft's movement accurately. Amidst the haze of dust, Armstrong focused on prominent rocks protruding from the cloud, using them as visual markers to assess the spacecraft's speed during the descent. The preparations for Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin to embark on their lunar walk commenced at 23:43 UTC. However, these preparations took longer than anticipated, stretching to 3.5 hours instead of the projected 2. On Earth, training scenarios allowed for meticulous organization, but once on the Moon, the cabin contained an array of additional items such as checklists, food packets, and tools. After 6 hours and 39 minutes from landing, Armstrong and Aldrin finally completed their readiness checks and prepared to venture outside. The Eagle module's internal pressure was gradually reduced to facilitate their exit. At 2 hours 39 minutes and 33 seconds, the hatch of the Eagle was opened. Armstrong encountered some initial challenges while squeezing through the hatch with his portable life support system, PLSS. Notably, the process of exiting and entering the lunar module, LM, caused some of the highest recorded heart rates among Apollo astronauts. At 2:51, Armstrong initiated his descent to the lunar surface. Due to the position of the remote control unit on his chest, his feet remained out of sight. Carefully descending the 9-rung ladder, Armstrong pulled a D-ring to unfold the modular equipment storage assembly, MESA, that was compacted against Eagle's side, simultaneously activating the television camera. Millions of people around the world held their breath as Armstrong piloted the Eagle, navigating over rough terrain and dodging potential landing hazards. The tension was palpable as alarms sounded and fuel levels ran critically low. But with calm precision, Armstrong managed to find a suitable landing spot in the Sea of Tranquility. Then, at 10:56 p.m. EDT, Armstrong descended the ladder, and with one small step, he became the first human to set foot on the Moon. His famous words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," echoed across the globe, symbolizing a moment of unity and technological achievement. Aldrin soon joined Armstrong on the lunar surface, and together they conducted experiments, collected samples, and planted the American flag. They spent a total of about 2.5 hours outside the lunar module, making history and inspiring generations to come. After a successful rendezvous with Collins in lunar orbit, the crew embarked on their journey back to Earth. On 24th July 1969, Apollo 11 safely splashed down in the Pacific Ocean, fulfilling Kennedy's vision and marking an incredible milestone for humanity. The moon landing of 1969 not only showcased the ingenuity, bravery, and collaborative efforts of thousands of individuals, but also represented the limitless potential of human exploration. It expanded our understanding of the universe, inspired scientific advancements, and demonstrated what can be achieved through determination and unwavering belief in the impossible. To this day, The moon landing remains a testament to human achievement and serves as a reminder that with vision, dedication, and teamwork, humanity can conquer any challenge and reach for the stars.